ban for Roccat is Caitlyn.
So that was the Caitlyn. This means they have the option now to first pick Lucian, or Copenhagen Wolves have to ban their way. Put both AD carries on something different. The Renekton ban. I like that they target out YoungBuck to say, Xaxus, we believe you can win this lane as long as he doesn't have Renekton. So that's why they banned their way. And Lee Sin, of course, we talked about the stats amazing have on Lee Sin. Absolutely, I mean, fantastic stats. He's always doing so much early game.
Copenhagen Wolves clearly a little bit put off by that Caitlyn ban. You actually saw concern, I think, straight away on Forgiven's face. Kassadin has been banned out. Will it be the Lucian first pick? Yes, it will.
So smart champ select by Roccat, because they forced Copenhagen Wolves into a situation where they either ban Lucian or Kassadin. Of course, you want to go for the Kassadin ban, meaning now we need to see something else from Forgiven's side. Ezreal is the safe pick versus something like a Lucian. You can farm from distance. Jinx could also be an option for him.
Of course, the other lanes available. You know, there's a lot of champions out there. The Annie is available, of course. The Morgana may be even available for Vander, which I think he's going to fall back to. Trundle potentially being thought of here for YoungBuck, along with that Lulu for Cowtard.
So we had Lulu left open. Yeah, we should obviously expect it to be in the mid lane. We saw how strong it was. Trundle, it is the fallback champion for YoungBuck when Renekton is gone. Roccat knows this. They must have predicted this in some way, that if we ban this one away, they want to get to Trundle. Maybe they have a counter ready for it, or something they feel can farm against it and be very, very strong, maybe even outscale it. Lulu, though, will be hard for him to deal with, because we know how strong Lulu is in the mid game, we know how strong she is in the laning phase, and now we need to see what Cowtard can do on it.
So, what will we see? Will we see Jankos heading towards maybe the likes of Pantheon in what do we expect? Lulu was locked in, of course, along with Trundle, but I'm looking towards these two junglers. We just saw Amazing there. There were clear discussions there. Jankos and Amazing, they fight over these jungle picks.
Yeah, Pantheon would most likely be the top tier to get here, because he's so good all around. He can do the long-range ganks.
Evelyn, maybe?
Evelyn could also be an option. We have seen it from Jankos in the past. It was actually before the changes, though. We haven't seen it since. But if he's picked up the build from Diamond Procs, getting all the tanky stats, you know, he can be really, really strong on his Evelyn. Also, there's something like Wukong. We saw it on Sugar earlier today, how strong it is. Engage-wise, it looks like it will be the Pantheon, though, which I really, really like if he does lock it in.
It's interesting to see the faces of Roccat, because if you've studied these faces, which I tend to do during this pick and ban phase, they're normally laughing and joking during this phase. They are all looking very serious right now.
They definitely want to go in here, because they lost to SK last week, so they want to go in, get the win here, get the win tomorrow, and really show they are the best team in Europe. They take away the 6 here, or they take it against Lulu. It is a fairly good matchup for 6. He should be able to do a lot of damage onto Lulu early on.
Up against Faker.
Faker actually won with Ziggs against Lulu in the Masters, and he really showed us how strong Ziggs is. As long as you land the Qs early on, have a lot of damage. We are on 4.2, so Ziggs is slightly nerfed. A bit less damage from his passive early on the auto attack.
His mines are down as well.
And then also his E, his minefield, do 100% damage on the first one before a minion walking in, and then 40% on the next one. So he's wave clear, a little bit touch, but not too much. And obviously Pantheon coming in for Jankos. We know how aggressive he can be and how strong he is on that champion.
Copenhagen Wolves now with two choices. Will it be that jungle champion? Will they be looking to lock down that duo lane? Will this Lulu even be a support? I'm expecting it to be actually the jungler, and of course it's going to be, well, very much insta-lock there for Unlimited on Annie.
And that's a very smart thing Copenhagen Wolves have done with picking up hard engaged supports like someone like Annie or Leona. Very nice this. And here, Nocturne jungle. It is, in my opinion, actually a really good counter to Pantheon, because here's what you can do when you actually start up a gank at level 6. You pop your ultimate, so the screen goes dark for Pantheon, and he won't be able to come in with his Grand Skyfall, because he doesn't know where you are, he doesn't know where to place it. It makes it very hard for him to actually counter gank, which is one of the very strong things from Pantheon. So I like this pickup. Also, later on in the game, Nocturne will be able to duo Pantheon fairly well, and also come in for some counter ganks by himself due to his ultimate having a longer range, or have a long range.
Interesting. Galio being considered as support. We did see N-Rated playing this for SK game before to great success. It was the only showing, though, as a support. So Vander, who does often go with those skill shot champions, it will be changed around. Hello. What?
Could potentially be LeBlanc top for Xaxus. We have seen it before.
Of course, yes.
Source played it. I know Source Zero plays it as well in the Challenger series. So it could potentially be this one against Trundle. And also, okay, of course, Morgana support against this hard engage combo. Pop it onto whoever you think Annie's actually going to go for.
Wow, locked in.
Locked in. So we'll be LeBlanc top lane against Trundle. It's more or less a lane where LeBlanc can constantly harass Trundle. He will never be able to get up to her, because if he puts up the pillar, you just jump backwards. And also you have your chain if he comes too close. So it should be a very easy lane for LeBlanc actually to get the farm. But it will be hard for him to kill this very tanky Trundle though.
We'll see how that develops. Xaxus has been having some fantastic games for Roccat. Copenhagen Wolves, their final choice. What will that AD carry be? Will it be the Ezreal for Forgiven?
Here's also though an issue for Roccat. They talked in their pre-game video how Copenhagen Wolves love to lane swap. If they can pull off a lane swap against LeBlanc, you can really shut her down early. She's very, very squishy. You will be able to force her away from the turret or even dive her and kill her. That will be an issue for Roccat.
I do have a great little bit of insight because I was talking to Cowtard on the way into work this morning. Jinx possibly being hovered over for Forgiven here. We'll see whether it does get locked in. But they were talking about the lane swaps, and I was like, it's funny, you're one of the teams that do it the most. We highlighted it last week now, how often they do it. And he says, the reason we actually do it, and we do it a lot in scrims, is because our communication is so bad. That's why we have that really bad spell of between the 15-25 minute mark. So what we do is the lane swap, and it forces us to communicate much more than we ordinarily would.
That's actually very smart because you have to coordinate with jungler, you have to coordinate how it goes in the other lane. Can you take the turret and then swap up to the other lane? You know, there's a lot of communication going on. With the Jinx logged in, they can actually do the lane swap. She's very good at pushing turrets early, so they would have a lot of damage to go in. And also Nocturne will be able to come up and join. He's very good at diving because you pop on your fear and then get the fear to proc, get some damage in, and then you get out. So I actually can see Copenhagen Wolves lane swapping against LeBlanc. So we could maybe potentially expect Roccat to be a little bit aggressive, to get some vision on Wolves and make sure they know where they're going.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic picks and bans once again. These teams have really been throwing out some interesting champions, and we were trying to discuss it in the office during the week, trying to figure out what these teams were going to go with. The fact that we are coming into 4.2, we're still not seeing Kale picked or banned at all today. So clearly that one is now off the map as one of the first picks. And ladies and gentlemen, you have heard from what we've had to say. You've heard from the Roccat coach. We want to hear what you've had to say. And according to the votes, 85% of you have chosen Roccat to win here. And that's no surprise. They are #1 right now.
They are #1, and they want to come in here after the loss to SK and show they still are the #1 team. So I expect them to go in, be really, really aggressive, and want to pick up this win.
Well, they are all square with the Copenhagen Wolves. They've got one win apiece. The Wolves were the only team, I believe, to take down Roccat in week 1. I'm trying to think if anyone else did. Yes, it was. Yeah, and that was a big upset because Roccat was starting out very well. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. As we move into the game, of course, Roccat are going to be starting out as the blue team on your map right there. And, of course, that means they're up against the Copenhagen Wolves, who will be the red team. So, anything we see from the initial start, not really anything standing out. Doran's items all across the board.
Yeah, nothing too new here. Looking at the lane matchups itself, mid lane is obviously going to be a very hard skill matchup actually for both because they want to land their abilities to make sure they get the poke they need. Both have a lot of lane control, a lot of poke early on, so it will be pretty much about who can land the first poke and then go from there on. Top lane wise, Xaxus will be able to farm, but so should Trundle actually. Yes, he will get some poke, but he's still very, very tanky early on and it will be hard for Xaxus to kill him, at least before the level 6 mark. YoungBuck won't be able to pressure Xaxus too much though. And looking down bot lane wise, Jinx and Annie against Lucian Morgana. It's more or less, again, skill matchup in my opinion. Morgana can land a binding, Lucian can get some damage onto this one, but that's more or less it. You can't really all in as Morgana. While Annie, obviously, we know how much poke she has, we know she has the stun. And then also Jinx, who's getting a little bit out-traded by Lucian early on, but she will still be able to do a lot of damage in case the land is stunned from Annie.
And so far we don't see a lot of lane movement, so we may not be seeing the lane swaps coming out from the Copenhagen Wolves this time around. Up against Roccat, all standard. And we did hear from Veggie, the coach for Roccat, that he expects them to have a much better laning phase this time around Roccat because, of course, that laning phase up against Gambit and Pyjamas didn't go very well for them.
No, and it has been an issue, as he said himself, that they have actually not been winning the lane since the early weeks, and that's also why they have looked a little bit more shaky. They're still a very strong team when they get to team fights. The coordination is very good. And notice here, actually, Celaver seems to be going towards the top lane, and his stats on Lucian: 22 kills, 2 deaths, and 21 assists. That is great, great stats. And that's why they first picked it as well.
Yeah, fantastic choice. And we talked about it at the start of the game. Blue buff. Oh, look at this, a double rotation.
And simply, Roccat is they're predicting the swap from Copenhagen Wolves. They didn't have vision on them to see them move, but they expect them to do it, so they swap with them here. And that is bad news for Copenhagen Wolves.
Oh, I think Roccat, if they'd have just held on for a couple of seconds there, I'm almost certain they wanted to try and look towards that bush, maybe try and get something in it. But instead, Roccat showed themselves. So this does mean we have a full lane swap. No advantage gained from either team.
Yeah, but this actually shows a little bit how it can be an issue that you are predictable. We know Copenhagen Wolves love to lane swap, the teams know it. Simply meant that Roccat didn't need vision, they could just predict it and swap off there. Good poke going down onto VandeRnoob, and also Celaver taking some damage.
Yeah, Dark Binding didn't quite land there. Celaver also taking some damage. Good switcheroo from Forgiven to get that extra long-range poke on towards Vander, and Vander being forced away from this one. Dark Binding is only going to land on a minion, and Copenhagen Wolves, they're zoning them out.
So much zoning potential from Annie early on. The very long auto attack, good damage. Vander, he needs to land a binding to actually get some damage going, and he's been missing them so far, which meant Unlimited, he can just walk around, keep poking. And we talk about how aggressive Copenhagen Wolves are in this bot lane early on. They just constantly want to harass.
We do see that level 2 first hit by the Copenhagen Wolves. It is so important because it really means that they can start dominating that lane. We see Vander hitting 2, still no 2 for Celaver.
And that's the perfect thing for Copenhagen Wolves at the moment, because the lane is in the middle, which means Celaver has a hard time getting in there, getting the CS. Copenhagen Wolves, they've been denying him so far, and actually really far ahead. First binding, lining onto Forgiven.
Not followed up by Celaver, which means they are still very worried, and Roccat playing this one oh so cautiously. And you can see in terms of CS what that means already. 9 to 8, 19 for Forgiven up against Celaver. So just that little intricate level 1 play that really, honestly, outside of probably say the diamond level, not a lot of teams see.
No, not a lot of teams actually use it because they don't value getting the early level 2 so high, because you really need to be able to zone them away for it to be worth it. And Copenhagen Wolves, they know how to play this non-stop. They were one of the first teams that I actually personally played against who did it, and that's where people started doing it from and learned it from. All in all though, notice the bot lane. Xaxus, he's having the pressure on the YoungBuck. He's
pressuring it quite heavily on YoungBuck. YoungBuck's already taken low. There's been clearly a heated exchange between the two, and I'm not too sure if he can stick around too much longer. He's chugging through those potions. That Doran Shield, of course, giving him the regen. Meanwhile, we do see Amazing getting in. Oh, he's going to show each other who can win this fight. That's the question, because they're going to go at it. Amazing fancies it. He gets the Fear Leash. Fear Tether on towards Jankos. Jankos with next to no mana. Oh, the explosive pack sends him into Jankos, and he's going to continue chasing. Throws the mines down. He has to turn around, but the flash from Cowtard doesn't land. The glitter lands, and Overpow just about saving the bacon of Jankos.
But here we actually see the Nocturne pick in action. He took the 1 versus 1 fight against Jankos, and he won it. He forced him to flash away. He did trying to go after him because he was most likely expecting Cowtard to flash over the wall with him and try to pick up the kill. There was Ignite ready as well on Cowtard. If he got in range for it, he could have used it. Sadly for him though, he couldn't get in position. But here we see the Nocturne pick, and at level 6 we will see which jungler is actually going aggressive first.
Meanwhile, these 2 AD carries, it is a big differential starting to stretch out here. Forgiven doing a great job, and more importantly, Unlimited doing a fantastic job of keeping them at bay. Again, manages to land more damage onto Celaver, taken so low with next to no mana.
And Copenhagen Wolves are really using this Annie pretty much perfect in the early harass, constantly laying down the long auto attacks, laying down the harass she can do. The only issue for them is the fact that LeBlanc is more or less free farming bot here. They wanted to swap against her, but all in all, they seem to be doing fine 2 vs 2 wise, so it might not be too bad for them.
Well, YoungBuck's already been back to get himself that Negatron cloak, so he knows already that he's going to have to keep Xaxus at bay, has built in towards it, so far, so good. Top lane again, look at it, 45 to 27, really a big gap starting to stretch for Forgiven. And these mid laners, both been back to buy now, and both very similar builds. We do see, of course, both going for that Chalice early on, but Boot's already been picked up by Cowtard.
And as we talked about, both of them are very strong laners. They want to get a lot of farm early, and they can both shove the wave a lot. We haven't seen too much action in there, so maybe they're waiting on for more teamfight based, both of them. But we know they both want to get farmed in the lane and just be able to get the first few items and be very, very strong.
And we'll see whether Jankos is able to make some effect on this bottom lane. There is no wards for YoungBuck, but he is going to have to be a tower dive if he wants to go for it.
But he's simply more there for a counter gank. If he comes around here, there is a ward, so it will be very risky for him. Nocturne is very far away though. He doesn't notice, but we can see it. He's very, very far away. Will he try and go for this one?
Well, it's a level 4 tower dive. That would be very aggressive stuff. Xaxus has just hit level 6, so he has that ultimate available. Just about enough mana to go for the full combo. But YoungBuck, he knows he's already got him in that bush. He can see him with the ward, but he's still sticking around.
Yeah, he's actually not even scared because, well, he might be moving away now. He just wants to try and get the level 6 from these minions and then prevent the dive.
It's going to be enough, I'm not too sure. Instead, he has to back away. Jankos doesn't go for the pounce there. Now he's hit the level 6. Now he's going to be much more confident. He can leech those stats. Cowtard's coming down. He's going to go aggressive on this one, trying to push on towards Xaxus, who quickly dashes away.
So all in all, very smart play by YoungBuck, staying in there, trying to get the level 6 so he could prevent the dive, and also in a good position to move away once Jankos actually moved towards him. It meant that Amazing, he was just farming, meanwhile Jankos was trying to gank. So he's actually level 6 now, onto Amazing. He has the ultimate. He can set up a gank. And if he does that, Jankos won't be able to respond because he's behind in levels.
So, first back 4 Forgiven, and look at it. 61 to 37 in that top lane. Celaver himself, well, he's going to get some farm going on here because he's got a little respite. Has been back to point that Vampiric Scepter, but it's a BF sword for Forgiven because he's got himself so far ahead in that lane.
And that is such a big difference if they come to a fight, especially just 2v2 wise, because you have so much extra damage onto Jinx. Also, once you hit the level 6 mark with tippers, we've talked earlier about how much burst you actually have. Pop the tippers first, do some damage, then pop the ultimate, which is an execute, so there's more damage the lower the enemy is. You have so much burst potential, they can shut him down. Shut down the bot lane from Roccat.
Let's see which way Overpow goes with this build as well, because remember, he's the one that's been building the Spirit the Spectral Wraith a couple of times. Elder Lizard, rather, sorry. On Xaxus.
It was Spectral Wraith.
It was Spectral Wraith.
Right.
I was right the first time around.
He could potentially go for it again. Normally, you want to build it if you're against someone who can't shove the lane too hard, because you want to shove the lane out, go to the Wraiths or the Wolf camp, pick up them, and then come back to the mid lane. Lulu, however, is very good at shoving out the lane constantly, so I'm not too sure if he wants to pick it. He does have a Pantheon jungle, though, who doesn't rely too much on killing Wraiths, so he could potentially go for it and just focus 100% on farming.
Well, these two top laners have returned, or bottom laners in the top lane, whichever you'd like to call it, is the duo pairing, and it is Forgiven Unlimited. Remember, Unlimited's given up a lot of first bloods, and this game so far has been fairly aggressive. But Vander, he's been known to land those dark bindings at key moments. But remember, Tippers is available in just a couple of seconds. You can see his experience bar in the bottom left corner was just about to tick over to level 6. May well make a play in just a few seconds.
And that's really where Roccat have to be careful once the level 6 mark on it. Forgiven, he did get level 6 now. He has the ultimate Unlimited very, very soon. You could potentially see him going all in instantly because Vander, he's only level 5.
And look at this. You can see Copenhagen Wolves all making a move towards that top lane, but that ward very well placed there from Jankos. Spots Cowtard straight away, moving up the river.
And meanwhile though, Ziggs, he just constantly goes down, does Wolf Camp, then he goes over, does the Wraiths. Cowtard, he will fall behind in CS if he doesn't do the same. And that can be an issue because Ziggs, we know how good he can farm, we know how strong Overpow is in teamfights. So that could potentially be an issue for Copenhagen Wolves later on if they didn't get too much farm. But notice here, amazing, he's close to this top lane, he has the ultimate, but so does Pantheon.
Cowtard again, going to pass this ward this time around, trying to speed himself up, trying to bait them around there, trying to draw attention, and I think he's aware that that ward is there. Jankos close by, he can do a Grand Skyfall if he needs to.
Yeah, but both junglers now are actually in a great position to either counter gank or set up the gank. If Amazing starts it with his ultimate, it's hard for Jankos to come in with his because he doesn't know what's going on, he can't place it. On the other hand, Amazing is in a good position to join in once you see the circle from Pantheon. And we could potentially see him jumping in.
Everything available, everything poised. We even see the mid laners. There's the Grand Skyfall coming in. Jankos is about to drop. He's going to get countered. Amazing comes straight in. Mega Inferno Bomb going to come in. That gets flashed out of. Doesn't really do the damage, but Jankos goes down. Amazing does get first blood. Vander's going to get focused on. He goes down again. It's a double kill for Amazing with the red buff.
And this is why Nocturne is a counter to Pantheon. He was nearby. He was in a great position. As soon as he saw the circle, he cancelled his recall, popped his ultimate, jumped into the face, and Jankos, as soon as he landed, he had to walk out, and he wasn't enough. He died for it, and Copenhagen Wolves take 2 kills and can now take this turret.
Completely blind stuff. What a turnaround, and Copenhagen Wolves playing that one absolutely on the record. 99 CS now for Forgiven. That tower's about to go down. He's got himself 2 assists. He is miles ahead of Celaver now.
And again, this bot lane from Copenhagen Wolves, or Forgiven as an AD carry, once he gets ahead, we know how strong he is in teamfights. We know what a good AD carry is. Copenhagen Wolves, they love to play this style where they rely on him to get all the items he needs, and then he will simply just go crazy in the teamfights. Notice Lulu again though, roaming towards bot lane.
Well, you see Cowtard moving in. I think they just pinged it, but they're too late. Xaxus is going to get caught out. Does get a distortion. Eclipse lands. He should be able to finish him off here, and it will be YoungBuck that gets himself a kill. It's a 3rd kill now for the Wolves.
And notice the difference between Cowtard and Overpow in this game. Overpow, he constantly goes into his own jungle, farms the minions. Cowtard, on the other hand, he just roams. He just wants to set up kills. Now they can go in towards this dragon. Jankos is the only one nearby. He can't join in. And all in all, man, this Lulu pick is doing so much work because he's so fast at roaming around. And also the fact that Overpow is playing so passive and focused so much on farming. Cowtard can do whatever he wants.
Easy dragon for the Wolves. Another objective gained and another big chunk of change. Look at the gold now. YoungBuck teleporting up towards the top there. But I've got to highlight this. 12 minutes into the game and already nearly a 4,000 gold differential. That's huge.
Such a big difference AD carry CS wise, and also yeah, the 3 kills they picked up. YoungBuck is slightly behind in CS, but he got the kill down bot lane, so it's great for him. He's been getting back into goal now, actually even with Xaxus. So it means Copenhagen Wolves are getting out of this early game very, very nicely, and Roccat, like Veggie said, They need to win the early game, otherwise he's going to be very, very mad. So he's probably a little bit mad at the moment.
I think he's probably quite mad right now because Roccat are almost certainly behind. The one saving grace, Overpow. He's doing a good job in farming in the mid lane, but as we saw, that Mega Inferno Bomb, it was thrown in there, but there was no follow-up, and instead Cowtard went hunting for those kills. Bottom lane, this tower is going to get pushed. We've already seen the top tower going down. They have to react. Xaxus can no way defend this one.
No, he's going to need a gank from Jankos. He is in range to maybe pop his ultimate, but he needs to do it soon. There we go.
He's going in for it, but have they got enough to follow it through? Because look, Amazing's coming close by. It's Forgiven they're going to focus on, but he's turning the aggression round. There's going to be the Mega Inferno Bomb. They will get the kill. Unlimited's coming down there. Amazing will be joining the party on towards Celaver. Unlimited trying his best. They get the stun down. They get the timbers down. Jankos going to get taken low. Amazing trying to do the damage. He should have enough, but he's going to get caught in the down lane. He gets himself the kill. Now he has to get the hell out of there. Vander's ultimate's running. Celaver gets the kill in the end.
Lulu's there
now it comes to Cowtard on towards him. Celaver trying to get himself a double. Not going to get it. The wild growth comes out from Cowtard. Saves Unlimited's life.
So first of all, we have the gank from Jankos coming in to stop them from going on the turret. They pick up the kill on Forgiven. Amazing didn't have his ultimate ready, so he couldn't join in fast enough. Meanwhile though, as we see again, Cowtard, he started roaming from mid lane as soon as the action started. Overpow, he stayed in there. He's going to shove down this turret. Will get it, but it simply meant that Cowtard could combat, save first of all Unlimited, and then pick up a kill for himself again.
Wow, this game certainly started off slowly, but it's got itself going very quickly. Second tower of the game coming down for the Copenhagen Wolves here. Vander can't do anything about that one. Cowtard happily taking it down. YoungBuck warding out, I believe, towards that blue buff. No, I think it got swept straight out by Jankos. Game straight in, not going to let that one through. Overpow will be taking himself a second blue buff of the game. Has great farm, but he has to start getting himself involved because last time they played Ziggs, Roccat were happy to have a bit of time on the game, a bit of time in the lane phase, but Copenhagen Wolves, they are forcing this into a different game.
Just think they're playing so aggressive in every single lane. They want to have these fights and Cowtard constantly roaming, so they, even though Roccat can get all this farm onto Ziggs, they want to make sure the rest of the lanes are behind, so it doesn't even matter. You have this very farm Ziggs unless we go really, really late in the game, and then it simply means Roccat have to stop dying at the moment. They need to just farm away, play safe, don't die, and then all the farm will actually pay off onto Overpow.
We'll see how that needlessly large rod transitions into any item for Xaxus here. He's going to have Cowtard in the lane against him, just passing through the tri-bush. I'm going to clear out that top wave, keep that tower safe. And in fact, is he going to rotate lanes? No, he's not. Just going to back off there. Bottom lane, well, we see again Forgiven and Unlimited are back in that lane, and it is building bigger and bigger. It's a 50 CS gap now between Celaver and Forgiven.
And we have to remember Lucian was the first pick for Roccat, so they really valued that pick very high. They figured we can actually win the lane or shut down Forgiven. He just said, no what, I practice Jinx now, I'm very good on Jinx. And then together with Unlimited, the very aggressive bot lane they had, or top lane more or less, in the start of the game, simply meant that they shut down the Lucian and got very far ahead onto Forgiven's side.
Interested to see how this one does develop with that Jinx, bearing in mind Reckless was the one that really brought it to everyone's attention and then stopped playing it. And strangely enough, Fnatic have lost every game since.
Well, the issue with Jinx is the fact it's very risky for you in team fights because you don't have this jump, you don't have more than, you have your flash, that's pretty much it. So if Pantheon can get onto him, if Xaxus can get onto him in the backline, they will be able to kill him pretty much instantly. That's where Lulu come into play though. Ultimate shield, pop it onto Jinx, and you won't be able to burst him down as easily, and that means he can turn it around, get a kill, pop his passive, and then keep going from there on.
See how it develops so far. It's working very, very well for Forgiven. You can see now a 60 CS gap building a gigantic step between Roccat and Forgiven. And just looking across the other lanes, you can see the gold as well across the board. Very even between the two top laners. Mid laners, it's actually very close, despite Overpow having a giant CS lead, a 40 CS lead, because Cowtard has been there or involved in all of these fights.
Yeah, and he's also gotten, you know, the global gold, which gives him quite a lot. It helps the entire team around. The thing I noticed is the fact that Xaxus, he's picked up a DFG. We have seen some LeBlancs go more in for Fiends, into Death Cap, into Void Staff for more overall damage, but with the DFG you have full-on single target burst.
4 members of Forgiven Copenhagen Wolves. Well, he's a team in himself right now. 4 members of the Copenhagen Wolves moving in towards this bottom lane. It does mean the mid lane has been left free. We do see that it's going to be Overpow pushing that one Meanwhile, the rest of Roccat, they're trying their best to defend this one, but again, Overpow, I feel, has to be here, has to be involved in this one. Another easy inner turret for the Copenhagen Wolves.
Yeah, Overpow could at least have walked down, thrown down his ultimate, cleared the wave before he even got to the turret. Instead, we saw the calling from Celaver trying to clear it. It wasn't enough, it took too long, so Copenhagen Wolves could take the turret, and Roccat didn't feel like fighting for it, because again, Overpow was stuck in the mid lane.
And this is something Copenhagen Wolves talked about in their interview last week, what they've done to turn their game around, and they realized SK Gaming did exactly the same thing as well, by the way. They talked about, instead they were chasing kills, they were being pulled into these team fights. Instead they realized, you know what, we just need to take objectives, which is what the Korean teams have been doing for years.
And that's the thing, because once you take down turrets, you deny vision from the enemy team, and also you make it a lot harder for them to actually set up fights. So Copenhagen Wolves, as long as they can keep taking down these turrets, keep using the advantage they have early, they will more or less shut Roccat down. And we saw Roccat against SK Gaming last week, how they went for desperate Baron. At like 23 minutes, they just rushed up to Baron. SK was there, they had full vision of it, got in, took down pretty much the entire Roccat, and then they surrendered afterwards. If Copenhagen Wolves can manage to do the same, keep the pressure on the map, keep taking objectives, Dragon going down again, they're just taking everything away.
Second Dragon in the game for the Copenhagen Wolves, not even remotely close. Roccat there to contest in that one. 5,000 gold lead for the Wolves, and they are really starting to drive this game home up against Roccat. They did exactly the same against Fnatic last week. It was dominating stuff for them, and Roccat, well, so far, around without any response.
And we have Forgiven picking up his second item is a QSS. Straight away, he wants to make sure if he gets hit by Binding, he can QSS it. Also, he will be able to survive some of the bursts if Jankos jumps him or if Xaxus jumps him with the chain, for instance. He can QSS that, get away, flash out, get the ultimate from Cowtard, something to make sure he can stay alive and deal the damage he needs.
Of course, if you've never bought a QSS, which is something you don't often see any players outside of Platinum buying, strangely enough, it is a cleanse, a free cleanse, an item you should buy if there is a lot of stuns like a Pantheon on your team, which I believe has been pretty much heavily hit in solo queue right now, and of course along with the dark bindings of Vander.
And another thing you can actually cleanse away is the DFG from the Blanc to avoid getting a lot of the burst going in here. YoungBuck, you might be going with Xaxus. We see the Pantheon ult, and Amazing is there.
Ready and waiting, and again that ultimate being used a little bit blind, and Xaxus is going to get caught out here. Have they got enough damage? YoungBuck will take him down. They can turn this one back on towards Jankos, but running up the mid lane is Vander. But look at this, coming in at the side. Cowtard is ready and waiting to counter. The Jankos is going to continue pushing, and well, Copenhagen Wolves counted it once again. That Nocturne is working wonders against Pantheon.
This Nocturne is more or less the story of the game, because every time the junglers try to do something, it goes into favor of Copenhagen Wolves and Amazing on the Nocturne. Once again, both junglers gank the same place, but Amazing goes in first, pops the ultimate, gets Xaxus more or less down instantly, and then from there on, Jankos just have to back out because he can't keep going with Cowtard also closing in. And it's just me. Amazing is just out jungling Jankos at the moment.
Talking about that kill participation, he's still 80%. He's always involved in everything that the Copenhagen Wolves do. And this time he countered that pick and of course let that Pantheon through, a champion that he's played to great effect himself. And went with the Nocturne. It seems to work out so well so far. As it stands, bottom laners, what is going on here? Unlimited's got himself a Giant's Belt.
On a Giant's Belt, if you want to be a little bit more tanky, once he actually goes in with his ultimate, and in general, if Copenhagen Wolves can survive all the upfront bursts from the LeBlanc, from the 6 ultimate, from Pantheon jumping in, the calling from Lucian, they will be able to turn the fight around, because they have Lulu. We heard Alex in the interview before and how good Lulu is to counter-engage fights, and that's what they want to do. So they want to make sure that every single member can survive. And it's also, again, the QSS, against something like the LeBlanc burst, popping DFG on you, you boom, instant you cleanse it, and you make sure you don't take the full damage.
So we're in that phase where the Copenhagen Wolves tend to go a little awry, despite the fact that when they have a giant advantage. Let's see how it works out this time around. We do have a Lich Bane now on Cowtard, so those basic attacks are going to be doing a heck of a lot of damage, and that explosive pack not really doing a great deal to him so far from Overpow.
No, and Lich Bane again, it is the common item onto Lulu because you only have your Q and also your E who does damage. So adding in the Lich Bane, you get some more burst, you get a third thing that actually scales with it. And it simply means also his tower pushing potential. If they get to that point where they can get in, get past Overpow, who's constantly wave clearing, and actually hit the turrets, he will do a lot of damage to them.
Looking amazing, you can see he's building up against, the fact that he's up against, well, 3 AP champions on the Roccat team. He's gone with a Hexdrinker as a jungler.
It's very, very smart because he wants to make sure when he's going in, he doesn't get instant pop by LeBlanc, instant pop by Xax. So the Hexdrinker will help him. Also give him some good damage in the fights. And he's actually picked up a Roccat once again. Copenhagen Wolves want to survive the instant burst from Roccat and then turn the fight around.
Tricky moment being set up here. Jankos and Overpow actually quite far up in the river, and there's 4 members between them, and Roccat are actually sniffing this one out around the blue buff, but I believe the blue buff was taken a few moments ago, if memory serves. But they are going to go for it. Amazing, actually, using that ping ward towards Jankos. Well, the rest of the team comes around. Tibbers goes down. Jankos goes down as well. Overpow now caught out. YoungBuck tanking out that tower. Explosive impact will force them away, and Tibbers will tank it away. Xaxus tries to come in and steal that 50 gold. Not going to happen.
And that was such a smart place for Copenhagen Wolves to actually camp all this, because they didn't have vision from Rockat's side. So as soon as Pantheon was caught completely out of position, ulted in with Amazing, got him down, and now they can try and pressure his turret, but Zex is still there, Lucian is still there to do a lot of wave clear. Yeah, good wave clear, of course. Culling being used, the mine's going down, but nevertheless, they got themselves another kill, and sure as hell, Amazing was involved in it. 3-1-3 now for Amazing, involved in everything the Copenhagen Wolves do in general, and it seems to be working. I wonder if he's the shot caller for that team. Maybe. He's at least doing a lot of early game calls. We often see this with junglers on these professional teams, where they have control of the early game, they decide where to gank and when to gank, and it works really well because, again, you have pretty much the overview of how much can you do as a jungler, which position are you in, which camp will you do next, and which lane can you go to. And now that Lichbane is completed on Cowtard, you just saw it there. A couple of hits on that tower, it's jumping it down very quickly. Chipping it down is the word I was trying to say, not chunking it. Maybe chunking, chipping, it's the same thing. Nevertheless, he is working that turret down, and Roccat are realizing they can't actually leave this one be. And obviously they want to make sure the last outer turret for them stays alive, because if they lose this mid turret, the entire entrance to their jungle is without vision unless they ward it themselves. So they want to make sure they keep this one alive. And yeah, okay, Overpow with his insane amount of farm has been able to keep it fairly safe. It's down to a bit 50% more or less, so Copenhagen Wolves, if they win a fight, potentially here at the Dragon, they will be able to rotate there and take the turret. Teleport available for YoungBuck, so he's just going to go off, defend that top turret and teleport in if required. Of course, Roccat didn't even fight for the last one, so which is why he's not putting too much into this one. Sweeping lens from Amazing will clear out the ward. They've caught Overpow a little out of position there. Cowtard just spotting out Jankos, and the Copenhagen Wolves, well, they're all moving for this one. There is a ward from Rockat's side, so they know it's being started. But look at the position. 3 members on the mid lane, and 1 guy is stuck towards the top lane. They weren't even ready for this one at all. Easy Dragon for Copenhagen Wolves once again. No, it's the 3rd Dragon, I believe, not the 2nd. I don't know, maybe I'm losing count, but I'm pretty sure that's 3 they've taken. 24 minutes into this game. Maybe I'm wrong, who knows. Stats are not always my best thing, nor is maths. YoungBuck just sweeping out the Baron, making sure that's not being warded out. Maybe something they can think about here. Jankos just on that big white, not going to get caught out. YoungBuck sniffing around here. I think he's going to try and ward this one out, and the rest of the team are closing in here. No. Pillar on Jankos. No, can't teleport just yet. Now, for Copenhagen Wolves, the issue is they want to obviously set up fights to push on turrets, but Roccat has been staying so passive. If they can manage to get a fight going here at this blue buff, we can get Copenhagen Wolves to maybe use the big advantage they have to win it. Otherwise, we'll see what actually happens. Where are they going? Nope. Going to try and smite it out. Amazing instead. His smite was back up after that dragon and just takes it away for his team. That does mean, of course, that Cowtard will be getting his. And a Ziggs without a blue buff, that means Mega Inferno rockets and Mega Inferno rockets? Mega Inferno bombs are not going to be available. That would be pretty hardcore if they had both. They do have that combo, or they don't actually tell a light because they can fight on Ziggs is on the opposite side, yeah. The thing is, for Rockat's side, it was actually wise they didn't try to challenge for this blue buff, because they just want to extend the game at the moment. They want to keep this mid turret alive by constantly pushing it out and then going to the side lanes, push them out again, and make sure Copenhagen Wolves can't get anything free and can start a fight, because Roccat will be losing. They are behind in gold. Copenhagen Wolves side, they more or less have to either try and force the Baron, which can be a risky move, or they have to try and set up a dive or catch someone out from Rockat's side, which is very hard with the way Roccat are playing at the moment. So far, so good for the Copenhagen Wolves, but they have deliberated a little, but they're starting to take every little advantage they can away from Roccat. But they've got to be careful. They can't leave Roccat be for too long, because they start getting fed. They are a very strong team fighting team if they're given the chance. And they're getting the farm, especially onto the Ziggs, but also the Blanc has been picking up quite a lot of farm throughout the entire game. We have a Void Staff, a second item, that is just full-on burst on whatever target comes into the face of Xaxus. Could be amazing, that's why he has the Hexdrinker. And it could also be YoungBuck, who's actually only having his boots and also the Spirit Visage, so he might be able to go down fairly fast if the entire Roccat team focus him. So would it be wise to see some Banshees maybe coming up for Copenhagen Wolves? Maybe they're going to have to try and build for that. Oh, that Sweeper, I think he got 2 of them. Nice. Banshees would be a very good item, as you're saying yourself. It can block a lot of upfront damage from Xaxus. Something else we could potentially see was again, Spirit Vision onto something like a Nocturne. He has the lifesteal by himself, and he can sustain a little bit from it, but a Banshee would be the ideal pick because he's the one going in first.
Roccat maybe pushing in this mid lane here. We do see down the bottom YoungBuck continuing to push on towards those turrets. The inhibitor turret is exposed. He's going to try and not use that teleport and walk his way up here. The Wolves have reacted quick enough, and Roccat quickly realizing they're going to have to step away. This is all because Forgiven showed himself in that top lane.
This time around, we actually had Overpow using his ultimate to clear out the bot lane. YoungBuck, he might even just return there, keep farming. He has the teleport, so he can always join in if something should happen. Overpow is back now, so that's actually the time for Copenhagen Wolves to try and push down his turret if they really want it. Yeah,
this middle turret should go down. The culling being used though, so they may have to tank this one out, which is not the wisest of choices. And yeah, the Wolves realizing that do step away. We did see YoungBuck in that mid lane jungle area, just getting a little poke on towards it, but Roccat are defending this one well.
And honestly, I don't think we're going to see too much happening in the game before this turret goes down. It is the full-on focus. At some point, Copenhagen Wolves might become desperate and try and dive it, and then Roccat can turn it around, win the fight, and then actually get back in the game.
Again, it's very hard to push in when you have a culling, which is on a very short cooldown from Celaver. And, of course, there's mines coming out from Overpow. They have some great wave clear if they require it.
And despite the nerf onto the minefield, it still does a lot. Now, this time around, Copenhagen Wolves finally gets it.
Chipped it down slowly but surely, and the 28th minute, that final middle turret does fall, and that's going to open up the map a little bit here for the Copenhagen Wolves.
It makes it easier for Copenhagen Wolves to go into the jungle of Roccat, put down deep wards, and then if they decide to either split push every single lane, try and catch someone out, or if they want to force out this Baron, they can get full vision around the area, spot Roccat coming in, and then set up a perfect fight ring where they start with the Nocturne ultimate, so it's really hard for Roccat to coordinate something.
Xaxus and Overpow getting a little coordination there, not quite catching out anyone though. Unlimited just backs off, making sure, I think with that giant spell pickup, do you think he's just making sure it's like, I'm going to make sure my stats are a little bit better in this game. 2-0-3, not bad so far.
He at least wants to try to make sure he doesn't die to Xaxus, but if he gets the full combo, he's still a dead enemy.
Right now, Roccat are rotating around. YoungBuck split pushing against Overpow in this bottom lane at the moment, and doing a grand job at that. Actual most of the jungle in control by Copenhagen Wolves. It is just Roccat in his top lane, keeping them at bay, but I think the Wolves have decided we've pushed long enough, we've got a lot of global gold, it's time to spend some money.
And here's the thing for Copenhagen Wolves side, they don't feel like they have to do too much because they like their combo late game. Trundle, we know what a beast he is. Obviously Lulu, with all the utility she's gonna bring. Jinx is very, very strong in the late game, and he's actually just upgraded his QSS. It's not the most cost-efficient item.
Mercurial Scimitar, yes.
Exactly, because you more or less actually only get extra AD, and you invest a lot of gold in it, so it's not the most gold-efficient one, but he wants it early on, and you just want the straight-up damage in the fights.
Let's see how it works out for them as it stands. I would have preferred maybe a Banshee's Veil in there. Maybe he just wants to, I mean, obviously it gets him out of the stuns. But we'll see whether he goes for any sort of Last Whisper, because at the moment it's only Jankos actually has the armor.
And that's the thing, that's why he didn't go for Last Whisper, because only one member he would actually be using it on. The rest is very, very squishy, obviously no armor until LeBlanc, so he felt he would get more damage from going straight into more basic AD instead of Last Whisper, instead of whatever item he could choose from. That's pretty much the idea behind it. And also, he will still have the QSS to pop if someone should go on him. It's still a little bit risky. I would also like to see a Guardian Angel or something like a Banshee to keep him 100% safe.
Glad to see I wasn't going mental. It was the fourth dragon of the game for the Copenhagen Wolves there. They are really in control. They actually, you know, we talked about Gambit having, what, 40 plus dragons. I believe Copenhagen Wolves are also the second highest as well. They have a lot of dragon control, but then again, they've taken a lot of games very long.
They have some very, very long games where they either win the early mid game and then take a lot of dragons there, and then end up losing it in some questionable decisions later on, and then from there on they pretty much lose the game, or the other way around where they are behind, farm their way back in, and then start winning the fights later on. This time around they are ahead, and they're in the position to close out the game. But again, they're happy enough just waiting with the combo because they like what they have late game, and also notice the distortion boots onto Unlimited. Means his flash is gonna have a shorter cooldown and he can do more engages if needed.
Xaxus going for that ping ward, amazing close by, Unlimited go play. They're going to use the talisman. Are they going to catch on towards anyone? They flash Timbers, but no! Counter flash quickly by Overpow. Quick reactions.
Very nice reaction. This time around, Copenhagen Wolves actually decided to bait out Baron, try and set up a fight. Didn't work for them. The flash again from Unlimited will be up faster than normal because he has this distortion enchant onto his boots, so it's smart enough. But it really, really shows again. Copenhagen Wolves, they want to just try and set something up, because this has been going on for too long. Roccat has been getting some form back and actually starting to maybe be able to fight back in team fights.
Well, they desperately want that 50 gold from Tibbers, don't they? But it's not going to happen.
Leave that poor Tibbers alone.
Limited, make sure he moves it away. He's not going to give Celaver anything in this game, making sure he is kept much lower. Right now, though, YoungBuck, he's continuing to farm on that bottom lane, continuing to keep that split push going with that teleport. He's not had to use it for a very long time.
There haven't been any fights where he's used it on. He's just been shoving out bot, moving into the jungle of Roccat, taking the Wraiths or the Golems and then move back bot lane, so he never really needed to use it. And it's not like it's a wasted summon spell, because he will always have it, and he will always put pressure onto Roccat by staying down here in the bot lane.
I mean, and this is something we've seen, obviously, the fact that there is a tank on Copenhagen Wolves. There's a tank on Roccat, but it is only Jankos from the jungle, so he's not as strong as YoungBuck would be. Which would you prefer? I mean, the double AP comp hasn't been that successful so far in 2014 team.
I like the double AP combo if you win the early game, if you get into the team fights where the enemy team's tanks haven't got the items needed to survive, and you just instant blow them up, and then you roll over the enemy team. But if you fall behind, double AP, it becomes very hard to play in team fights because you have to pick out a target to actually win the fight. And so far for Roccat, they haven't been able to do it. And Copenhagen Wolves, with both Amazing and YoungBuck running into the face, Roccat won't really be able to take them down without losing at least some members themselves to the backline of Copenhagen Wolves.
The Copenhagen Wolves have been trying to make a pick here at this Baron for about 5 minutes now. It's not really working out for them. They do get a lot of wards down. Sweeping Lens is going to find a lot of gold. If Vander can get it down in time, gets himself one, can try and get the second, but they've been sitting, waiting, trying to get something from this one. Every single time we see YoungBuck pushing along that bottom lane, being shoved out. It quickly gets cleared once again by Overpow, but this is just making Copenhagen Wolves stronger and stronger.
More or less, but it's also the only thing Roccat can actually do, because they are so far behind. They can't choose to fight themselves, so they're just trying to make sure Copenhagen Wolves doesn't get a free Baron, always stay around. I think that's like number 20 of wards they've hit in the same bush. One thing we did see, Forgiven pick up a BF sword more, so they actually really want to see Darkness coming in.
Nocturne, they've caught Celaver out of position and coming around the side. He's YoungBuck, he's going to land the slow on him. Celaver, oh, Megadeth fucking coming in, he's going to quite take him down. It will, and YoungBuck finally gets himself a kill. It's the first one in around about 10 minutes. It's been a long time coming from the Wolves.
It was of course the Paranoia, not the Darkness, coming in from Amazing here. Finally they catch someone out, take a kill. This could mean they could go for this Baron and pick it up, and then really start pushing down the turrets for Copenhagen Wolves' side.
Everybody knows it is Darkness.
Yeah, it is
That's
technically
what
Darkness.
comes in towards it when Nocturne shows himself. Nocturne just above us here in the caster desk actually as well, so he's keeping an eye on us right now. But Baron is being started off by Roccat just off at the side though. They've caught Vander out, they're pushing it on towards him. YoungBuck getting caught with that dark binding, but look at that, the glitter lance on Vander, chipping down to half his health.
But the fact that YoungBuck and Cowtard were actually down here meant that Copenhagen will stop the Baron. Amazing, he's gone down to 15. They're going in again.
Talisman pops. Is he going to get the stun? No! Of course, because he has the shield on Jankos, and he will not get the stun.
And Amazing is recalling. It seems Copenhagen Wolves want to back off. Once again, they tried to get the pick. Couldn't get it. The kill onto Celaver actually didn't give them anything, except for some more time at the Baron.
A little bit more gold, a little bit more farm, and a little bit longer of a game for the Copenhagen Wolves. And would we really expect anything else? They are the kings of the late game, it seems lately. But are they playing into Rockat's hand? Who has the comp? I mean, it's a 10,000 gold differential. Let's not get carried away. Copenhagen Wolves have massive, massive control in that sense. But if it's to go late, Xaxus could catch out Forgiven and just pop him in seconds.
It will, yeah, it can potentially, but there's still the Lulu ultimate, there's the Lulu shield, there's the QSS, remove the debuff from DFG. So overall, I actually like Copenhagen Wolves combo more in the real late game, especially because they have these tanks who's going to be very hard to kill from Rockat's side. Overpow, he has a lot of CS, he will be very, very hard to deal with later on because he's going to have so much damage. This time around though, they have started the Baron, there's no vision from Rockat's side, and they're not in a position to stop it. Xaxus, he's in the base, and one guy's recalling.
Yeah, the Copenhagen Wolves choosing a different route this time around. 2 man in it, YoungBuck tanking it up, Amazing doing the damage, and he's a pretty fed jungler. The rest of the team now going to rotate around. They feel they have positional advantage, and Roccat have stepped far enough away that this one could get taken. The Mega Inferno Bomb is the only thing could be used to steal this one away, but you can see he's in the base. He's not going to get close to it. Instead, it will get it down. Quick cancel of the ulti there, and he will go for it. VandeRnoob going to get caught out. Everybody piles in. Paranoia is popped. Amazing once again gets himself another kill. Everything that happens, Amazing is there.
And this was actually perfect for Copenhagen Wolves. First of all, they finally get this Baron so they can now start pushing down turrets, maybe even dive Roccat onto their own turret, and also they managed to pick up a kill onto Vander. more or less showing what the combo can do with the Nocturne. Once again, pop the ultimate, jump into, catch out a target. The rest of Roccat, they can't see anything, so they can't really go in and help. And Copenhagen Wolves now, they need to just go down, and they might even be able to just dive. They have Lulu, very tanky members as well, who can tank this turret for a long time. Just go in there, use the advantage they have, kill Roccat, and then move down for an in-hit.
Dragon again, 5th one of the game now, along with that Baron. Every single objective being taken by Copenhagen Wolves so far in this game.
And at this point, it gives 260 gold to every member on the team. That is quite a lot. So it gives them some extra gold. They also picked up the Baron here. You see how far they actually are ahead. Now we need to see if they want to push it, or they just want to keep farming for the next 20 minutes.
Well, with the Baron, I would hope not. However, Cowtard wants his blue buff first. We're going to make sure he does get it on him. You may see it on him. It's not actually on him. Now it's on him. Now it's on him. There we go. So Cowtard with the blue buff. He's probably going to go back, get himself fully topped off, and come in. Of course, with that Banshee's Veil, Little Pain, and Athene's and Early Grail, he could just buy yet more items.
Cowtard should have enough gold for Void Staff at the moment, so you can just go back, buy it. Has so much damage you can put out. Also, Infinity Edge completed onto Forgiven. We even see Rylas onto Annie. Simply to provide some more CC, some more tankiness, and also give a little bit of ability power. Once she pops down the tippers, she will slow the targets she actually hit with the tippers, which is very, very smart.
More Mortius also completed by Amazing, so not only
Baron is not up, guys.
He's going to get more damage. Yeah, Copenhagen Wolves still thinking, this is where we stand, isn't it, for 20 minutes of the game? I'm sure this is what we do. This was part of our game plan, despite the fact they've already taken it. Oh, hello, YoungBuck's going to get dived on here. Xaxus coming in, he's going to have Jankos with him. Can 2 members of the Roccat take him down? Mega Inferno Bomb's going to join it. A little bit too late. Vander closes in, doesn't land the Dark Binding. YoungBuck continues to run. He is going to get caught out with the ultimate. Vander will stun him up there. They should have the damage, but to what avail? Because look at the top lane. We see the Copenhagen Wolves making use of this push. They're going to take themselves another inner turret.
And finally they managed to actually kill YoungBuck, but it will cost them the turret. Smart enough by Copenhagen Wolves to shove down the top lane, with YoungBuck being very far pushed up down bot. Maybe a little bit too far, so it's fairly easy. I'm saying it's actually 3 members to actually kill him, so it wasn't easy, but they did get the kill. This time around, rotate to mid, using the shield to tank the turret.
Cowtard just tanking that one out. It's going to pass it back across, and that's a second inner turret. So 2 inner turrets for a single kill of a troll. I believe Roccat have just been trolled.
Yeah, definitely, they have just been trolled. But this again, this is what Copenhagen Wolves had to do, because they are so far ahead. They had the Baron. It was just a matter of time before they actually got the outer turrets. Now Roccat is more or less forced to stay in the base and take a fight there whenever Copenhagen Wolves decide to move in.
Ooh, Roccat, no, are they going to go for it? I thought so. Jankos and Vander thinking about it. Amazing, not really the one they're looking for though. 4-1-4 Siren Fire, and Jankos having a stretch.
While it has been a very slow game, we can't actually blame Copenhagen Wolves for the way they're playing, because again, they have a very good late game combo. They had the early lead and they didn't want to risk losing it, so they played very, very safe, didn't want to dive Roccat, didn't want to take any chances, and we can't really blame them for that, because this win against the #1 team, that would be very, very important.
Yeah, the Copenhagen Wolves, of course, chasing the way up that table would put them, I believe, tied with Fnatic, which I think would be a very big objective for the Copenhagen Wolves, and put them potentially into one of those top 4 slots, which they have been aiming for and been doing very well. Also, would be their 3rd win in a row, which is big, big stuff for the Copenhagen Wolves.
And all these teams obviously fight because they want to get into the playoffs. They want to get in there where they can try and even win the entire league, and also avoid relegation, which is the main point. We have some very strong challenger teams in Europe that will be ready to face whoever team is actually going down to relegation. That can be some very, very close matches.
Yeah, the likes of Cloud9 and Ninja Pajamas we already saw, of course, in the finals of the Challenger Series. Remember, the Challenger Series, the second Challenger Series of the Spring split, will be starting after this concludes. So make sure to keep your eyes peeled for that one. I believe it's Zyrene and Ribbons.
It is, yeah.
Zyrene and Ribbons on that one. And there will be 2 games following this one, so don't go anywhere once this game finishes. At the moment, though, the Copenhagen Wolves are looking very strong. 9-3 up in kills. Baron buffers now ran out. They did get themselves 2 turrets with it, and look at that. Minions on the top lane, along with Trundle pushing on there. YoungBuck, again, split pushing. A 4-1 split push. Standard stuff from Wolves, but it works.
It works, and a Trundle with Blade of the Rune King with the extra attack speed also from his own W. It means he has a lot of damage onto turrets, because you can also use his Q. Now Copenhagen Wolves, will they go somewhat aggressive or just poking away, backing off?
Simple zone control takes half the hit points off that inhibitor turret. You can see in the top lane, well, YoungBuck, he doesn't really care about Overpow. He's continuing to split push while the rest of the Wolves continue to play with Roccat.
And that's the split pushing power again we just talked about with Trundle. That extra attack speed from Bladed Rune King, your own W, and the fact you can Q the turrets means he can take it down very, very fast. And Overpow, he really needs to either ultimate this wave, otherwise he's gonna lose it to YoungBuck.
YoungBuck's taking down the top inhibitor turret. There it goes. That's one down. The second one will follow down the bottom lane, I feel. And YoungBuck really does not give a monkeys, I think is the word I'll go with, over Overpow.
Smart enough, because again, Roccat have to keep these members down in the bot lane to defend from the 4 Copenhagen Wolves. Otherwise, they can just dive in with Nocturne and also the flash tables from Annie. So they really use the advantage of having this Trundle, and we see Grand Skyper coming.
Oh, this is not a good move, I don't feel. He's going to go in towards Cowtard. Cowtard, Wild Growth pops. He's just going to turn that damage back on his head. Teleport coming in. YoungBuck's going to join the party. And now they've got a big giant troll in amongst them. Amazing goes in. He gets one. Jankos going to get focused down as well. He's going to get dropped as well. That'll be YoungBuck. Picks himself up a second kill. Now on towards Celaver. They're just tanking through this turret. They can take that one down. YoungBuck's not done yet. He keeps on going through. Playing the Rune King, tanking it through. He's tanking up a turret. He's going to go down. He will finally fall. But it's another inhibitor turret going down. And the Copenhagen Wolves come out 2 for 2, at the end of that. And another inhibitor turret down.
And this fight was a perfect example of how Copenhagen Wolves actually won a team fight, where they just moving backwards when they engage coming from Roccat. They survive the burst and then they turn around, pop the ultimate on Amazing, he goes onto Xaxus, gets the kill. The rest of Copenhagen Wolves turn, pick up a kill onto Jankos. They got a little bit greedy, over-aggressive in the end. YoungBuck, he just ran through the turret, tanked 3 people. In the end, he died for it and Cowtard died with him. If they'd maybe stayed back after the first 2 kills, they could have picked up the inhib and just finally getting one of these down. However, they have 2 open inhibs now, they can just move down as 5 people and take the fight there.
So the Copenhagen Wolves step back, take it a little slower. They lost a couple of people, but they have the top and the bottom exposed now. And that's almost certainly going to be targets. But look at this. The Baron is back up, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, God,
we
no.
could be back into another long stretch from the teams.
Copenhagen Wolves don't even need this Baron buff. Vander. Could actually be caught out here.
No, Amazing. He has the opportunity to go for it, but he realized Overpow is there. The rest of the Roccat are close by. Meanwhile, the Copenhagen Wolves, they still have Cowtard in the base. Grand Skyfall coming in. Jankos a little bit early on this one. They're going to try and start it.
They might actually be able to get it because the 2 members of the Copenhagen Wolves are not there. They have to fight it 3 versus 5 if they want to go for it.
Don't forget Cowtard can speed it up. They're going to use Tibbers to try and force them back. We also see the ultimate coming out from Forgiven. Everything being done, but that Baron's going down very quickly. Now we're going to see Amazing go in. Spike being used by Jankos and he gets it down. Unlimited tanking off. He's got all that hit points. Celaver separating from his team. He goes down. This Baron buff's doing nothing for Roccat. It was a desperation move that is backfiring. And the Copenhagen Wolves with that Pixie, they're going to continue chasing down. Cowtard gets himself a second. They turn and run for the mid.
And this should mean Copenhagen Wolves can go down and finish. Only 2 members are alive. They're all 5 here and they can quickly take down these extra turrets if they go for... Oh, Cowtard!
Xaxus goes in. Wild Growth turns it around. He does get the kill, but he goes down nonetheless. Shock horror. Amazing is there again and controlling the game for the Copenhagen Wolves. That's one inhibitor turret going down. The inhib will follow. The top inhib is going to go down as well. The Copenhagen Wolves are taking everything from Roccat.
And finally, Copenhagen Wolves actually had Roccat moving out of the base and then they punish them and they can win this game.
Number 1 seed, Roccat, are going down to the Copenhagen Wolves. A fantastic match from the Wolves. Controlled it from the lane phase, through the mid game, to the late game. A very well played match from the Wolves. They took their time, but they completed it very well.
They took their time, they took no chances, and in the end, Roccat, they tried a desperate move. We see the howl coming in from Copenhagen Wolves, but Roccat